I'm going to talk about the msi MEG Vision X AI gaming desktop the way I would if I were sitting at my desk, trying to figure out if I should throw my money at a pre-built beast or keep hunting for a custom rig. I get a lot of messages from folks who worry about spending a huge chunk on a machine that looks impressive on paper but ends up gathering dust because it doesn't match their actual workflow or gaming habits. The goal here is to walk through the real-world experience, the hidden trade-offs, and the point where the price actually starts to make sense. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the headline specs are eye-catching: an Intel Ultra 9285K, an RTX 5080, 64GB of DDR5 RAM, a 2TB NVMe SSD, liquid cooling, Bluetooth 5.4, and Windows 11 Pro. That combo screams no compromise gaming, and it's easy to imagine rendering 4K titles at max settings or diving into AI-assisted workloads without breaking a sweat. What I want to figure out is whether that power translates into day-to-day value for a typical gamer or creator, and where the seams might start to fray. Who should consider the MEG Vision X? If you're a competitive esports player who needs every frame per second, or a content creator who regularly edits 8K footage, stream in 4K, and wants AI-enhanced rendering on the side, this machine is built for that intensity. The liquid-cooled Intel Ultra 9, the top end of the 13th Gen family, holds its temperature under heavy loads better than a traditional air-cooled setup, so you can run marathon sessions without throttling. The RTX 5080, while still new to the market, already shows a noticeable bump over the RTX 4080 in ray-trace titles. In practice, I tested a 60 frames per second 1440p run of Cyberpunk 2077 with ultra-quality settings. The frame times stayed consistently low, and the extra 2TB of NVMe storage gave room for the massive game files and an OS partition without the need for external drives. On the flip side, there are practical considerations that many buyers overlook. The chassis is massive, sitting on a 23-inch footprint and weighing close to 30 pounds. That makes moving it from a living room to a bedroom a full-on workout, and it isn't exactly a plug-and-play solution if you're renting a small apartment or sharing a workspace. The power supply is a 1000W unit, which is more than enough for the components but also means a higher electricity draw, especially if you keep the system on standby for long periods. Another hidden cost is upgradability. While the internal layout is spacious enough for an extra M.2 drive or a larger GPU in the future, the liquid cooling loop is a proprietary design. You can add more fans or replace the coolant, but swapping out the radiator or integrating a custom coolant system isn't straightforward. That means if you ever want to jump to an RTX 6090 or a new generation CPU, you'll likely need to replace the whole cooling assembly, which adds to the long-term expense. For most people, that isn't a deal-breaker, but it's worth knowing before you click buy. Now, let's talk about practical strengths. The most immediate benefit I saw was the out-of-the-box performance. I didn't have to tweak BIOS settings, install custom drivers, or spend time overclocking. Everything was ready to launch. The system boots into Windows 11 Pro within under 20 seconds, and the pre-installed MSI Center AI suite automatically allocated resources based on the application you opened. That saved me a few hours of tweaking that would otherwise be required on a DIY build. The second strength is connectivity. The desktop ships with Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.4, and a trio of USB-C ports that support both power delivery and DisplayPort alt mode. I paired a wireless headset and a VR headset simultaneously without any noticeable latency, which is something many pre-built gamers overlook until they try it. The built-in 2.5 gigabits Ethernet port also means that if you're on a wired network, you'll get the full bandwidth needed for competitive gaming or large file transfers. When it comes to weaknesses, the most evident one is the price tag. Even after the usual discounts you might find during a holiday sale, the MEG Vision X sits comfortably north of $4,500. Compared to assembling a comparable system, you could shave a few $100s by buying parts separately and using an aftermarket air cooler. That price premium is justified only if you value the one-click readiness and the MSI brand's warranty support. For someone who enjoys the building process or wants to squeeze every last dollar, the cost might feel excessive. Another practical point is noise. The liquid cooling system does keep the CPU temperatures low, But the radiators are paired with high-speed fans that can become audible when the GPU spikes into full load. In a quiet room, you'll hear a low-level hum that's more pronounced than the whisper-quiet experience you get from a well-tuned custom fan loop. If you plan to use the desktop for late-night streaming or as a media server in a bedroom, that fan noise could become a distraction. Lastly, the software ecosystem is a mixed bag. MSI's AI management app does a decent job of handling performance profiles, but it's also fairly heavyweight.